I've started realizing that the way that I view myself has changed. Okay? That if when I think back to, when I first started cross dressing, I thought about, my feminine expression as a different person almost. Okay, I even wrote about that, about sometimes you feel like, you're like you're two different people. Okay, and I did feel that way. I felt like when I was dressed as a woman, my personality was different, I thought differently, and I felt differently than when I was dressed as a man. And I would naturally find myself, talking about my feminine expression in the third person, talking about, Sydney, what Sydney likes, Sydney doesn't like. I've always talked about how I like to dress, what kind of perfume I like, how I do my makeup, where I like to go, anything like that. I would naturally talk about those things, in the third person. Okay. And oftentimes, even still, that's how my family does it, unless I'm dressed. Okay. That's how my family talks about me. My wife, if she's talking about, me as a woman, she talks about me in the third person. Okay. Unless I'm sitting there dressed in front of her, and then she doesn't, obviously. And you know what? I was thinking about, I would think about my feminine expression, about Sydney, as the woman that I'm becoming, as the person that I was becoming. Okay. And as time went on, I started having more of, I guess, a one person mindset. Okay. That I went from thinking about myself in the third person as two different people to just realizing, I'm one person. That whether I'm dressed as a man, I'm dressed as a woman, that I'm one person. Okay. And I'm me. Okay, whether I'm going by the name of Justin or Sydney, I'm one person. And so a lot of the differences, especially after I started coming out to people more, they kind of started to blur. Okay, all the differences, that the feeling of a split personality and all that. Once you start coming out to more people and living your life more and accepting yourself more, that's my cat, ignore him. Um, you know, those those lines kind of start to blur. Okay, and you think of yourself more as one person. But this was an interesting thing. This is what I'm getting to. An interesting thing that I realized about how I view myself, how that's changed, is this: that I've started just kind of naturally seeing my male side in the third person. Okay, as the person that I used to be. And I didn't just sit there and consciously decide to do that. That I've explored this so deeply now, my feminine side has woken up. I've accepted a long time ago, I'm transgender, and that's just who I am. And so when I think back to how I used to be, then I'm thinking, well, Justin was a more angry person. Justin was more impatient. Um, Justin was kind of trying too hard to fit in with other men. You know, um, who knows what? You know, and even little interests. Little differences and things. And I'll think about that in terms of Justin and who I used to be. And I think that that's kind of, you know, um, a natural way to view things when you've gone full time. Okay, so you're living your life full time as a woman, you've abandoned your male identity, you're probably on hormones, maybe you've had surgeries and things. Well, then obviously that's a natural way to view things. Okay, even if your psychologist tells you you're one person still, you'll probably naturally view it that way. Nothing wrong with that. But if you kind of keep going down this road, and you will, okay, as you get more and more in touch with yourself, even if you're still spending a lot of your time, even most of your time as a man, you'll start seeing your male side as the person you used to be also. and just thinking about yourself as, whatever your female name is. I'm Sydney. So when I think about myself, I'm Sydney. That's kind of how I see myself now. Anyway, I wanted to share that. Love you all.